What companies have the potential to last forever? Oh no you don't. We aren't picking stocks for you op. Lasting forever doesn't mean it'd be a good pick for your portfolio. Well, unless you're just looking for a stable and low risk place to stash your cash. Come on man. Index funds and mutual funds. We can't let the secret out now. Our Wall Street bots can service your needs. Amazon honestly, I commented this just to comment something lol Amazon isn't gonna last forever. I think they will eventually break apart at the very least eventually. Definitely, when Bezos is gone, some investment banker will tell new management why it is a great idea to split web services from retail, and they'll break it up. I asked if I could use my Amazon reward points to pay my Oz bills. They said no. Curious, what do you use Oz for? Amazon retail is a loss leader and its margins are shrinking hard. The real money is in Oz and content production. Probably Google. They have so much cash on hand, they can simply buy out any competition. Google is so big it's scary. You could say the same about Amazon, Facebook, and Apple, but Google feels more ubiquitous than any of those other brands. The patents Google owns are more impressive than what they hold in cash. Their patents on autonomous vehicles are something that has a ton of potential over the coming decades. Just wait until 20 years from now, everyone decides to stop owning cars and just pays $1 to Waymo every time they want to be driven somewhere. Yep, came here to say Alphabet, Google's parent company. Nintendo fun fact, if they completely stopped receiving income and their spending rates didn't change, Nintendo would still be able to function at full capacity for about 50 years. Their retained earnings is bonkers. But retained earnings does not equal cash. You can't just spend your retained earnings. Lol I know dude, I'm a CPA too. Just impresses me how much income they've accumulated over the years. Hello my fellow accountants, how do we do? Accountants, how do you like your jobs? I'm considering switching from business administration to accounting. What are your personal experiences? Coca-Cola, they have so many products it's scary. More than sodas, they have juices, teas, and waters, all of which don't grossly advertise the fact that Coke owns them. The number of beverages is roughly 3,500, and about 500 brands for those wondering. You're limiting it to drinks? They own a lot more than that, hundreds of foods as well. Next time you're eating a bag of chips, check the fine print. JK, apparently that's Pepsi, the inferior cola brand. Are you thinking of Frito-Lay, the subsidiary of PepsiCo? Question mark? As far as I know, the Coca-Cola company specializes in beverages and is currently pushing non-soft drinks while the soft drink market goes in decline. PepsiCo, on the other hand, owns Lay's and a bunch of other brands through their ownership of Frito-Lay. As stated in the other thread, yes I was, kind of. I genuinely thought I read Coke on them years back, but I guess I was wrong. I'm my original comment now. Disney, probably. Their media empire's already scary huge. They've already gotten laws changed to prevent Mickey Mouse from being in the public domain. It ends in 2024, but I'm sure we'll see them get that extended further. They've been using footage from Steamboat Willie more recently. I'm not a lawyer, but the person who had the idea of doing that probably is a lawyer. Took a copyright law class and our professor told us to keep an eye out. We see they will probably change laws again. I can't wait to see what happens. What's significant about Disney replaying Steamboat Willie? I mean, how does that protect their copyright? I have absolutely no clue if this is correct, but I imagine they'll have an easier time convincing lawmakers to extend their copyright if they are actively using the character. Cargill has been around for 154 years. They are larger than 97% of the Fortune 500, but few people have heard of them because they're not public and do not sell to everyday consumers. Agricultural products will always be needed. Aren't the Cargillaires far and away some of the richest people in Minnesota? Probably the richest. They're ranked the fourth wealthiest family in America. They also have the most billionaire family members with 14. Feels weird to learn about such a powerful and wealthy family I never knew existed. Yet, I lived a few hours drive from them. That always feels like a litmus test for extreme wealth and power to me. Like, super rich CEOs and reality stars need you to know about them to make more money. Then above them, you have that class of people who doesn't think about you at all and exist in a wholly different world from you. Zildjian. They've already been at it for 400 years. What if all music with drums die? Could happen. Drums have been in almost every genre of music for like 10,000 years. I don't think they're going anywhere. Plus like, just because a lot of music is digital and electronic in the mainstream, doesn't mean drums will cease to exist. There is still huge music scenes outside of the mainstream. Like I think about a lot of community bands, schools, etc etc etc. There is going to be a need for it. According to the doomsday argument, this is a good choice. The longer a company has been around, the more likely it is that it will continue to be around. Everything dies and nothing lasts. This was one of the main lessons of Heretics of Dune and Chapter House Dune. Everything meets its end eventually. Even an organization like the Bene Gesserit that's been around for tens of thousands of years. Arrakis teaches the attitude of the knife, chopping off what's incomplete and saying now it's complete because it's ended here. The lone and level sands stretch far away. I was thinking that soon there will be no Earth for us to inhabit, so no business, right? If you consider a billion years soon, sure. Costco treat both their employees and customers well, plus their prices are good. All that takes is a wrong change in leadership, unfortunately. Treats most of their employees well. My brother and myself were both treated like garbage working there. Not if they continue to lag in online e-commerce adoption. A more tech-inclined brand Amazon could eat them whole, leave the brand name and business model, but shove them into the 21st century. They did this with WFM, with a rep of treating their staff well, and to a lesser extent, the customers ignoring the pricing. Sort of surprised Microsoft isn't number one here. Does anyone know of any company in the last 20 or so years that doesn't run every single computer they have on some sort of Windows OS and using Microsoft Office applications as their standard? Of course, I'm not talking about proprietary systems used for specific tasks, but even those tend to operate within a Windows framework. I can't see any company embracing a new system like Microsoft. They are too embedded globally to fail as a business. Do you think in 1000 years we will be using computers the way we do now? Just seeing the beginning of things like Samsung DeX make me wonder. The entire world will be so reliant on computers in 1000 years that if you were to go forward in time and live your life just like you are doing now, you will be looked at like an Amish person is now. But will they look like our computers today? See how much market share Microsoft got on phones, for example. Any insurance and banking industry. These types of businesses have existed in some form or another for millennia. They are not going anywhere soon. Of course, the nature of the business, laws regarding them, types of currency, etc. will change, but the fundamental needs of these industries are going to last forever. Yeah, company I work for has been selling software to banks since the late 80s. Still going strong, and a whole lot of too big to fail companies would have no backup if ours went down. Most do not have backups in place either. It's weird to say, but insurance and banking as business models are probably up there for the greatest innovations human society has made. People hate them, but they indirectly drive a massive chunk of the growth in our society. I work for a bank that's been in business for more than 150 years. They aren't going anywhere. Google. Almost everyone has heard of it, and it is almost impossible in the modern world to not use it. Standard Oil. Almost everyone has heard of it, and it is almost impossible in the modern world to not use their products. Internet Forum, 1910. For real, the British East India Trading Company dominated entire parts of the world militarily, and people still think that a company won't go away, mostly because they see their name a lot. Hudson Bay's company has been around since the 17th century and deal in pretty conservative products like clothing and home goods, things I can't imagine us not needing anytime soon. Except that they've effectively become a department store, and those haven't been doing so well lately. HBC will evolve, as they have in the past. IDK, their stuff is pretty expensive. Granted, HB products are good quality, but there's a reason not many people do wedding registries there. You can usually find third-party products for less at other stores. I wouldn't be surprised if they lasted maybe 10 or 15 years more. Disney, Facebook, Google, all have had their scandals and failures. None have suffered greatly for them. Facebook and Google have existed for 15 and 21 years. Give them time. Jim Beam, well over 200 years old now, and people will always need something strong to drink. Now this makes sense. There are a few alcohol companies that have been around for a long while now. Apple has enough cash to burn through for quite a long time. Apple could literally buy every NFL team just with cash on hand with money left over, then add in brand worth, property holdings. There are a lot of Apple stores and their patent portfolios, and it's insane. IBM and other companies on the cutting edge of artificial intelligence could be run entirely by immortal machines one day. IBM is probably going to die off in our lifetimes. They've been riding on the coattails of the brand and have killed their own reputation. Watson was a cool stunt, but its effectiveness hasn't panned out. I believe they will fragment and split, but their mainframe business isn't going anywhere, considering it is the only game in town.